It's officially 2021 and we've got a lot to cover today. We're looking at Bitcoin to the US dollar here. You can see we're inching towards that 30,000 US dollar mark after we broke out of the symmetrical triangle. We actually drew this breakout 4 days ago and we targeted 30,000 US dollars, and that is still my target, being that it is a huge psychological number. It's a big even, and you can see our monthly open has now reset right at that $29,000 level, and our previous monthly open still sits at the previous all-time high, which was 19,798, and we've yet to retest this breakout level that really broke out on December 16th. And so now that it's January 1st, there's a lot to watch. We're going to also look at Ethereum because a lot of you guys are asking me about Ethereum, and one thing I want to notate here is if we look at these moving averages here, you can see this 50-period moving average on the daily chart is now above the previous breakout level of that $19,798 level, which was the previous all-time high that we've yet to retest, and I certainly can expect us to retest this sometime in the near future. And now we're starting to see the 100 and 200-day moving average creep up towards these higher numbers, and the longer Bitcoin is able to stay at these higher numbers, the more these moving averages are going to creep up, and that's going to make Bitcoin less probable to come down to these lower numbers. And so the higher these moving averages go, the more probable it is for Bitcoin to sustain these higher levels. If we look at gold, something that's very interesting about gold right now is we're forming this very bullish flag. If we pull up this 3-day chart, you can see here gold now in this beautiful flag channel, and it's just now starting to come up to this point where it's possibly going to break out. And interestingly enough, when we look at gold to Bitcoin, Bitcoin obviously taking the market cap of gold just day by day here, and we've finally broke this major level that we only tested back in 2017 when Bitcoin reached its previous all-time high. And so what I'm really expecting right now is for not just gold to go to higher levels, but Bitcoin to also possibly outpace gold as it has been, because you can see when we look at these lower time frames, we continue to form lower lows on this chart, and to me that's a very strong indicator that there's a lot of weakness here and we're going to see a continuation to the downside. And so you can see this curve here, it's just still kind of curving down, and every single day just several hours ago we started to see new lows form on this chart. And so just because gold might see an increase in price doesn't mean Bitcoin is just going to stop or not see an increase alongside gold. And the reason I have this thesis right now is when we look at the DXY chart, we're seeing a lot of weakness. We just recently broke this major support that I was watching for quite some time. And yes, we saw this bullish engulfing, but we've seen many of those in the recent times for the DXY chart. But the real trend has been down overall. And realize that this is a major level. You can see this is a level that in the past we've seen major resistance and support at that level. And so when you look at this DXY chart and you go all the way back here, you can see this is a level where we've found major support in the past. It's been a huge breakdown level. It's also acted as resistance. You can see a resistance here. You can see a resistance here. You can see once it broke out, it really broke out. And so this is a major level that we're watching here. You can see resistance, 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 and resistance. And so we were above this since 2014. The dollar was strong, and now we're starting to see this trend down, and now we're at this key level. So what's going to happen in the next month is going to be very critical to how 2021 is going to play out, especially as we watch the DXY chart, which is the dollar value in comparison to the other major currencies. Now, let's move on to Ethereum and look at the ETH to BTC chart, because something I found today was if you look at the 3-day chart, which I sometimes like to look at the 3-day chart because institutions, you never know what time frames they're watching, you never know what their algos are set on, but you can see specifically for Ethereum, when we look at this 200-period moving average, in the past, Ethereum's price action has respected this 200-period moving average on the 3-day chart. And you can see once we broke out of that is really when Ethereum to the Bitcoin pairing saw a breakout. And of course, now we've seen this push down. And when we look at a daily chart, things look quite bearish because we're below the weekly and monthly open. When we look at the weekly chart, we're below these two weekly moving averages, but the 3-day chart doesn't look bearish. Matter of fact, it looks extremely bullish. And this is one of the charts and one of the moving averages and the time frame that has been respected quite often in the past for Ethereum. So I don't see why this isn't respecting itself right now. And so to me, Ethereum still looks very bullish because you can see these candles were never able to close below that 200 period moving average. And not only that, you can see even right now we're kind of stalled on that 200 period moving average. And so remember what we're watching here with the others dominance. We're trying to see whether or not this weekly breakdown is going to get retested in the next 3 weeks. That's very critical for us to determine there's going to be an altcoin cycle like what happened here in 2019. And so right now this candle just turned green. It was red yesterday. And so to me, that's what what institutions like to do, of course, to manipulate the market. As the week comes to an end, we've got 2 days and 11 hours left for this weekly candle to close. We're starting to see it change colors and change direction in some fashion. And so I think overall, because the dollar has been weak and it looks like it's going to continue to be weak, I think that gold and Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to see higher price levels, as we're starting to see with traditional markets. It's not just cryptocurrency markets. You can see when we look at the Shanghai Composite Index, we're starting to form these new yearly highs. And then we look at the Hong Kong traditional markets, we're starting to form these new yearly highs. And we look at the Japanese markets, we're continuing to push up. And so overall, in my perspective, we're just going to see a continuation of the trend, which is inflation with asset prices like real estate, rare collectibles, precious metals, and cryptocurrencies, of course. And so there's going to be a ton of opportunities here in the next few months, and it's going to be critical for you guys to stay up to date with our content and, of course, stay up to date with what's happening with these charts, because I think that the next 3 months are going to be critical to where we're going to be headed towards the latter part of the year. And I want to talk about this trade we took yesterday for THETA US dollar. This is one of the oscillating altcoins that I love, and I wanted to just go over this trade before we wrapped up this video, because this was a very easy type of trade for me, and a lot of people are asking me how I'm trading these altcoins. I'm going to talk about how this trade that we sent out yesterday hit all of the targets, and of course THETA being an oscillating altcoin that I really enjoy and like. I'll just kind of go over exactly how we went through this trade, because it was a very simple trade. So this was actually just a breakout trade on the daily candle. So once a daily candle closed, there's obviously a high that's formed, and you can see the high on this daily candle was 1.8888. And so when I was looking at this chart, I said to myself, well, with THETA being an oscillator, which is a coin that keeps up with Bitcoin's price action to the upside, I knew that if we were to continue higher from another candlestick, then we were most likely going to see higher price levels. And so, of course, with THETA being such a great oscillator and this daily candle closing, we were below that daily candle when it closed, and we just started testing it. And so you can see, once I realized that we were coming here and just testing this daily candle here, of course, we tested it once, twice, and then the daily open occurred right around here. I sent out that long signal because I knew if we were to break that previous daily candle, we were most likely going to see some significant upside for a trade. You can see within a few hours, over 10% gains here on that THETA trade. And of course, we do that every single day in our Discord. For those of you that are not in our Discord, it's discord.gg/profits. The link is in the description below. So I want to wrap up this video and look at Bitcoin and talk about where I expect Bitcoin to head over the next few days. And of course, this is going to be a more micro analysis. So at this point right now, if we want to look at where there may be a breakdown, we want to first keep this weekly open in mind. Of course, that's sitting right around that $26,400 level, and that weekly open is going to reset in 2 days and about 12 hours. And so if we see any bearish price action, then the first thing I'm going to be looking for is hourly closes below this weekly open. And if that occurs, then there's a high chance we come and test this previous CME gap and previous breakout level of 23,795. But for the most part, I'm still expecting this to trend up. We've yet to hit that $30,000 target. And so I'm expecting us to at least go to that $30,000 big even before we see any sort of a pullback. And of course, if we start to see some strong momentum into 30,000, then that could even result in a blow off top, possibly towards higher numbers like 32,000 and 33,000. But I don't think higher numbers are on the board just yet. And then from there, I'm expecting a consolidation. And then of course, from that consolidation, we can determine if it's a bullish or bearish consolidation in our next video. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, guys. If you appreciate this content, remember to like the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And with that being said, thank you guys for your time today. Snipers out.